Good afternoon. Good afternoon. No, good evening. Oh
Good
my
evening,
gosh,
sir.
I'm so tired, dude. I'm losing track of time here. Um,
How
be-
dare you?
listen, I'm still on Kickstarter hangover. So hello
Which
everyone.
did well, by the way.
I know. I was gonna get into that, but let me say hi to everyone first. Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Stoked Podcast, episode 21. We are in the 20s. We are officially an adult. We're an adult, and the our podcast is legal right
One
now.
more episode and we can drink.
No, we can drink now. 21.
Oh, it's 21. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I guess,
21 now.
I guess now we can drink. Hold on. Let me go get something to drink. I got a beer.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's be sober today. For those that don't know, my name is Javon Stokes. I am owner of and CEO of Visually Stoked Media, and also an artist and writer and creator and everything. And to my, I did it. Next to me is
Did it right?
I did. My co-host Jamari Stokes,
Congratulations.
and we are here to have creative talk with creative people. I'm so excited about this show. I've done the podcast interview with these ladies before on their show. They've been they've been guests on a top 5 live on, I think, maybe once or twice. I'm not sure, but both shows were quite entertaining. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we get into that, I do want to say thank you to each and every person who pledged to my Kickstarter. We did very well, at least 30% over the goal. So if you backed, if you shared, if you prayed for me, if you did anything to help support, I appreciate you and thank you. And if you did back, please do your surveys. Make sure your surveys are filled out so that we can get you your rewards. Can't do the rewards without the surveys.
Okay.
And if you had any error in your backing, please take care of that. Otherwise, I can't get any money and nobody gets anything. And then we're back to where we started. But we're not here to talk about me today. We are here. Let me got to do my flowery introduction. All right, here we go. Me. Our next guests are a dynamic duo. One is a self-proclaimed jack of all trades, and she actually lives up to the hype. Not only a incredibly talented inker, she's an editor and owner of her own comic book label. The other considers herself a relative neophyte to comics, but in a short time has become quite the accomplished editor as well as noted podcaster. Together, they're driving the successful powerhouse indie promotion known as Unlikely Hero Studios and their wide array of assorted titles. Let's give a Stoked Podcast round of applause for Laurie Foster and Sarah White. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
That was so sweet. That was an awesome introduction. I feel like
he
really works hard at
amazing.
that. He works very hard.
I do work really hard because
even practices in the mirror.
There's only so many adjectives to give people at a certain point.
Right. And I'm terrible at writing about myself. So I like it when other people write about me because I feel so weird doing it.
Feel free to keep that one. You can have that one. That's a freebie. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the show. Thank you. This has been like a long time coming.
Yeah, it was when we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird that you thought we had been, and I was like, and then we were no, and yeah, that was, yeah, and glad to be here too. Although I was here once before, so
you were. This is your second time. This is Laurie. This is Laurie's first. She's popping her a Stoked Podcast cherry today.
Yes.
Welcome.
We're very excited to come.
This is a lot less intense and aggressive show than Top 5 Live. So you guys can be comfortable. There very rarely are there huge arguments broken out on this show. Very rarely.
It's almost always
between me never.
Have we?
Me and my cousin.
Have we had a big argument?
No.
I don't think we have.
I think the worst thing was your celebration of the Patriots, and just like that was the most evil thing ever. And that was that's the worst thing.
Yeah, but even that we didn't get into an argument. It's this is a safe space. This is a safe space.
We've definitely had some some like half-hour long arguments where we just kind of crap on Morgan Iverson. So
It's so easy to do. Like, it's so easy to do. I love Morgan. Morgan. He calls me big bro. That's my little bro, and it's so easy to just because like sometimes. Listen. I want you guys to understand, and everybody who watches this show, and if you watch the Top 5 Live, many times it looks like I'm really intense and into it, but I'm really just egging Morgan on.
yeah,
And because I know he's getting frustrated, and I'm like, I twist it, and Danny does it too. So I just want to point, I'm not the only one. But this is not about Top 5 Live. Yes, we are definitely instigators.
Danny is a human trigger warning.
Yeah. Danny does it. He knows he's
God
a troll.
bless him.
He's a
God
troll.
bless him.
He's a troll. But today is not about Top 5 Live. Today is about Laurie Foster, Sarah White, Unlikely Heroes Studios. So I always start anybody who's involved with comics because I love comics, and I've frequently talked about where my love started and where it came from. So I always ask, and I'm going to ask you both, where did your love of comics begin? Where and when, I should say.
I would say I'm not sure exactly what age. I was pretty young. I was probably 10 when I got my first. I mean, everybody starts with kind of Archie. You get some Archie when you're really young, and you're like, oh, okay.
Did I?
You're the first person I've heard on here mention
I feel
Archie.
like kids
right?
kids read an Archie at some point before they, like, if their parents don't introduce them to comics, that's where they start, I guess, because it's mainstream. But after that, besides that, because that doesn't really count, I got my first
Archie counts.
Archie literally met the Punisher.
Yeah, I mean, Archie
That's true.
has met the Predator, has met Batman.
Archie's done a lot of shit.
Yeah. I don't know how that zit-faced teen is still alive, but here we are.
He's got his own show now.
Nah, they canceled it.
Oh, well,
They had
That's
it.
right.
It's oh god.
Okay, so you got into it through Archie?
Well, my first comic that I actually got was a Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man Carnage book, and like I immediately just became obsessed with lines and with Spider-Man and like with the art, but also with comics. And then probably the second book I became obsessed with after that got me into comics was Battle Chasers with Joe Mad drawing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just from there.
Now that's one I don't know that one at all.
You don't know Battle Chasers was when it was. Once again, I'm gonna preface this. I have the most useless superpower. I can remember almost anything about comic books. I have a photographic memory when it comes to comic books. But yeah, Joe Mad, that's when it was Joe Mad, and was it Chris Pachalo? It was J. Scott Campbell with Danger Girl.
Yeah.
And Humberto Ramos and Crimson. Yeah, see, there's no reason why I should remember any of that. Cliffhanger, yep.
Trust me, I can make you feel useful compared to my superpower. It's even stupider. I can't forget the lyrics to just about any 80s cartoon, 80s, 90s cartoons. They're just useless lyrics stuck in my head. They won't go away.
Okay, you win.
Yeah, told you.
Hey, man, I have the entirety of Ace Ventura Nature Calls in there. I think that might be more useless.
When Nature Calls.
Yeah, man.
At least, that's got to be good at parties.
Maybe that's the better Ace Ventura movie.
Yeah,
it is.
You know what?
Is it?
I'm like, I mean, let's be. Are either of them really good movies to begin with? That's why I don't fight the point. But I'm like, if I have to choose, I'm not going to choose Nature Calls. But I get.
Well, the first one's like problematic now. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like incredibly problematic.
It's rough.
Yeah, they're both pretty problematic.
The first one's really bad.
The second one gets played on Cartoon Network now.
That's right. I saw that.
Why?
I saw that. I so saw that. I remember seeing that, and I'm like, why are we having kids watch this? Didn't he have a cartoon though?
Yes.
Ace
Very
Ventura had a
short-lived.
cartoon. What we have so diverged. Anyway, go back. Okay, so Sarah, your introduction. I know I think I've heard it before, but for the viewers that haven't.
Yeah, well, I never read a comic until Super. I got pulled in to help Laurie. Well, she met. We were just like actually. I met Eric first. So I knew Eric for years before I met Laurie, and now it's like now we're both like, man, don't care about Eric. It's all I'm like Laurie and I are like best friends, and it's like I was like I mean I still talk to
You
Eric.
served your purpose.
Yeah, it's funny because he and I probably talked a lot more. Like we talked not, constantly, but often, several times a week, probably for years. And then he introduced me to Laurie, and eventually, yeah, it totally flip flopped. Except even more so because like now Laurie and I probably do talk every single day. If it's not about business, it's about this dumb thing that my cat did, or this dumb thing that her cat did, or like just bitching about anything.
Yeah, that sounds like me and Jamari, pretty much.
Yeah, just regular, friend stuff. But anyway, I don't think like she knew that I am a graphic designer, and she approached me asking me if I could help with something that they were having an urgent situation with UHS, and I was like, yeah, sure. And so the first comic that I like ever actually truly sat down and read was Super. And
okay.
But actually yesterday when we were talking to Mike Watson, I thought about how I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons all the time. And then as I was thinking about it more, I loved the Batman movie.
Which one?
The very first one, the Keaton Batman movie.
That would be the second one, actually.
Well, yeah, I wasn't alive. This is the first one that I was alive.
Oh,
for.
Don't say that, Jesus.
You weren't alive for that.
Was I? No, that was in the 80s, wasn't it?
No.
89?
No, Keaton, yes.
Oh,
the one before Keaton
The one before Keaton
was like the 60s, wasn't it?
Was it the 60s or was it the 70s? Was it the 70s?
There's no way you were alive in the 60s.
It was
There's no way.
It was definitely the 60s. Was it the 60s, the movie?
If you were alive in the 60s,
no,
you look
God, no.
Amazing. I'm just saying.
But,
yes, so you can send us all your skincare routine if you were born in the 60s.
Listen, my skincare routine is lotion to face.
1966, by the way.
Was it 66? Why do I feel like it was in the 80s? But you're right. Yeah.
No, that was my first Batman movie. Was the very first Keaton Batman, and yeah, like I think mom and dad had HBO, right when people started being able to get HBO, and so I watched that on HBO every time it came on. So I probably watched it 50 times in my first 10 years of life.
Same.
And so and I loved that, and I watched the Spider-Man movie, the Spider-Man cartoon, and cartoons. And
so I have to ask which Spider-Man cartoon, because there's like 100.
The Amazing Spider-Man, right? I think it was amazing with the techno.
The opening that repeats his name over and over again.
Oh,
I actually looked up the lyrics one day just to see. One of the lyrics is spider blood. Radioactive spider blood.
Yes, radio. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
I remember at one point I did know all the words, but I don't know them now. I can't remember them now.
I used to
they've been pushed out by the words of that freaking lullaby that Todd wrote for Power Broker, and then they had me sing it for the
Poor Sarah.
and like now I like literally even this is what months or a year even. I don't remember when we actually did that, but like I still to this day I can remember the words to it. So
stuck in your head. That's awesome. So it looks like the Adam West Batman was syndicated in the 80s.
Okay, there we go. I used to, you know what it is? Like I used to watch it a lot. Like
I remember getting off the bus on the days that we had to go to our grandma's house after school, and we'd get up the bus and then we'd go, and we'd be so mad when she didn't let us watch Batman. She had to watch her stories. Or so. And then we were like, but we don't want to watch Days of Our Lives. We want to watch Batman.
I used to have to watch my Well, for me, my grandmother didn't watch stories, but it was always like the game
Cool.
shows,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
like Wheel of
Price is Right and
Fortune,
stuff.
Price is
Mhm.
Right. I've watched so many episodes of Price is Right. My
With
goodness.
that super dorky looking guy, and he had the mic that was like a very long skinny stick with the ball on top.
No,
It
older.
was like
we're
a
talking.
You're
Yeah,
talking
we're,
Bob.
you're
Going
talking.
Bob
You're
Barker.
talking. Yeah, Bob Barker. That's
Bob Barker. So that
that's what
means
I
yeah,
you're
no,
talking
I was
about
remember one of those
Carrie.
two.
yeah. You're talking about Drew Carey. No, this is. I used to
Oh
watch
no,
Bob Barker.
I'm it's a totally different show. That's not the
What do you- I
I'm gonna have
remember they
no.
used to do what was it? Oh, whatever. Yeah, that was what I was. I didn't. My grandmother didn't do stories. My grandfather had control of the TV, and it was game show after game show after game show. And then I remember when I would get sick, and I know I'm going on a divergent, but whatever. I'm enjoying this. When I used to get sick, my grandmother would let me go upstairs in like their bedroom, and like I would get to watch cable because I didn't have cable in my house.
Yes.
And so I would watch like Nickelodeon, and that's what it was like: Gummy Bears and Fraggle Rock and Banana Man.
Oh wow, Danger
and
Mouse.
Danger Mouse, yes, Danger Mouse.
Yes.
I'm dating the hell out of myself right now, but that's all right. I love those friggin' cartoons.
We lived out in the country, so we had like the antenna channels that you could get.
Oh yeah, I had that.
And
Yeah.
we didn't, no cable. We couldn't get cable. And I remember when it was before I was 10 years old, but like we got the satellite dish, and it was the like the big
The super
the
big
huge
one.
the super big one.
It's like when you would hit the button and change the channels, you could hear it
And you
moving
could
outside
yeah,
and
you
see
could
it
watch
move.
it.
Wow. I've never known anybody who actually had one of those.
My grandmother and
I was
my
like, yeah,
grandmother
I had the
one.
experience. Like my grandma had one, and then eventually my parents put one up. And my family has like a network of farms. Like that's how they make their money. And so like they're serious about it. So, but very close to each other. So like every single day I was like right there with two, and we didn't even know that it was weird until I was an adult for sure. That I learned that the big giant satellite dishes were weird and that most people did not have them.
No,
We
not if
catch
you were
like
living in
foreign
the city.
channels. You didn't even know what was going on them.
Right. Yeah. And I wonder sometimes if I go back to my parents' place and like start investigating in the like the tall grass behind the buildings or something, like will I find that old giant thing
Just
or
dust it away?
I mean, it had to be made of something that couldn't rust, right? So I imagine if it's still out there, then it's probably still intact. They probably sold it to the junk. There's like a dude who collects junk and then buys all that stuff, so it's probably gone. But how fun would it be? I would absolutely be dragging that thing back to my house and figuring out a place to stick it, because that's got to be good for something, right? That is. I don't know what for yet.
Satellites that probably ran those systems probably don't even work anymore.
Yeah.
So they probably don't bounce any signals anymore.
Oh no, I mean like I was like thinking about like giant rose quartz shield or giant Captain America.
Like right, Captain like a cosplay.
Yes.
You know? I mean,
okay.
I wouldn't
I have no idea where we are right now.
This is great. See,
okay, I'm gonna do my job as a host. I'm gonna pull us back. I'm gonna pull us back. Let me pull us back.
I would absolutely be like, Laurie.
We're gonna go down we're so far down the rabbit hole of the giant cable dish.
It's always a risky take when you invite me onto your show.
Oh my
Please
god!
bring them back.
Okay, so we talked about how you got started. What were your favorite characters before, and then are they the same now, or do you have different favorite characters now?
Okay, that's a good question. Definitely still really like Spider-Man, so that hasn't changed.
I don't dislike Spider-Man. I'm just kind of sick of Spider-Man movies.
Oh, but Into the Spider-Verse is just the greatest movie. Like, it's just so perfect. It's so fucking good.
Oh, I'm not gonna debate that. I'm just a little Spider-Man out for now. Like, I just need a couple of years of a break, and then I'll go back to it, and it'll be fine. But I love Spider-Man. So
that's how I feel about Batman. That's how I feel about Batman.
That's how I feel about Batman too.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Superman as
Yeah.
well. Like I don't want them to go away for. Well, Superman's kind of a Mary Sue. I'm kind of sick of Superman. Been sick. Of
Hey,
Superman.
Superman and Lois is a great show.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
That's
Or
a
maybe
great
I
show.
Me
have.
neither.
That's the
But-
best version of Superman,
Okay.
in my opinion, on TV or film since Christopher Reeve.
Fair enough.
What is that on streaming where I can find it now?
Probably. I mean, CW.
Yeah, I need to look
Who
for
the
it.
heck knows what Steve?
Yeah, I need, because if I know where it is, I'll find it and I'll watch it. But if it's on Paramount, no, I draw my line.
So we've got Spider-Man. All right.
I mean, Ninja Turtles was a big thing for me as well when I was
Okay.
younger. I still like them. Been all over the place, but still, I still get them. I still get all the crossovers they do, like Ninja Turtles, Batman, and Ninja Turtles. I don't know. They've done a bunch of them in the last 10 years.
Did you
that are
read
just
the
crazy.
last Turtle story that they wrote?
Ronin?
one-
The last Ronin one? No, I
Yeah,
haven't gotten it yet. I want to.
I want
Yeah,
to read that too.
yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
excited
gotten it.
about that one.
I used to love Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, though.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
all of the original toys. Oh my god.
Yes, I'm so sad I don't have them anymore.
I
That
don't know where
upsets
they
me.
are. They're lost to
No,
the
I know
annals
we
of
had
time.
lunch. Yeah. Oh,
They're
My
so
brother
far gone
still
from-
has old original Power Ranger toys, like Green Ranger Dragon, Green Ranger, all
you
of
go.
all the
Yeah.
originals. I'm sure they're worth something.
mhm.
I had the blimp. I had the big blimp that you had to
Oh
blow up.
wow!
I had the truck, the little truck,
Party wagon.
the party wagon. Yep, I had all that crap. Who knows where the hell?
I would say when I was younger, I wasn't super into DC, and I'm more into it now than I was. But that's hit or miss cinematically, of course. And with the comics, it's kind of hit or miss. It depends on which book.
Yeah.
I just read a new Peacemaker book that Garth Ennis had written, and that was pretty good. So it's kind of all over the place. It kind of depends.
Yeah.
But
That's how I feel
definitely, I
about
like.
the big two.
Yeah.
Like I've said on this show before, I can't do single issues anymore. I just don't have the time. I always miss a month, or like I miss one, I can't get it. So I usually get like trades, and I only
Outside
get
of indie books, yeah.
Indies are, my problem with indies, and I've said this before, I do so many Kickstarters that I forget that I've done Kickstarters
Yes.
until I get the book, and I'm like, oh, I
Yes.
did this Kickstarter, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, well, I got to finish my Kickstarter, so I'll read this later, and then they
Yeah.
just keep getting put on a pile, and so there's this pile of indie comics that that my friends and stuff have done that I just haven't read, and not that I don't want to read them. They all look amazing. I
Yes.
That does sound pretty familiar. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I have about 2 long boxes that I haven't read of indie comics now, and 1 or 2 that I have read. Yeah, there's a buildup.
It sucks because like I really want to read. Like I have a friend of mine who had a book that she'd been working on for a while now, and it looks beautiful, and I've seen like the process of it, and I'm like, oh man, I just want to sit down and read it, and then like every time I do sit down and read a comic, it's always an old comic that I've already read. So, and I'm just like, one of these days I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna read like 2. Like I'm gonna read just 2. So just focus on 2 and get through it. Like the only 2 I read were Danny and Morgan's book.
I do that stuff too, and I think it's a stress response. Like you go back to the ones that make you comfort, that give you comfort. I think it's a stress thing, and I think we all with the past how many years we've had that have been stressful, like we're all just retreating into stuff like that.
I have noticed I have done that with a lot of movies and music too. But now I will say I've been reading more new comics because part of it is just dealing with Javon and doing this podcast has driven me into more indie stuff. I love it. Yes. Yes. It
Oh,
is.
it says like dealing with Javon, and I thought there's got to be a second half to that sentence.
Still don't
But
understand
it was
why
funny.
why they
I
had to come
wasn't
out
gonna
so
wait till
hostile.
the end to laugh at it.
It came out very hostile. So, listen, I mean, if it's that much of a big deal, I could just press this button.
So
right
hard
here and,
sometimes. So
just
hard.
press this little button.
He's just going to
know.
leave you by yourself, Jamari, and you're going to have to do the show.
Yeah, well, we do some.
No, I won't
That'll
leave
never
him.
happen.
I won't leave him. I'd press it.
We must always get
Say
on each
goodbye.
other's nerves sometimes.
Or kick him out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works.
I mean, we used to live in the same house together, so this is years.
It is very like Javon is kind of like the antagonistic brother that I did not.
How am I
growing up.
antagonist? Listen to me. Stop that.
I'll say
He's a
this.
bit of a shit starter.
Compare.
He is a shit starter.
How am I?
A little bit.
You are absolutely the shit starter. Or do I need to tell the story about?
That's
the time
because
that you
no.
risked
That's
your-
because
your
Morgan.
Patriots jersey.
Time out. That's. I'll tell that story. I'll tell the story.
That's
Give me
beautiful.
1 second. The thing about Morgan is Morgan starts it, and then he like it's almost like he starts it with Danny too, but Danny doesn't like get. He does like he'll troll him, but he doesn't troll him in like a needle pointing way. He'll just say something crazy and he'll stick with it, and then it'll frustrate Morgan. And so like but I'm different. Like if you're to come at me, then I'm gonna give you energy and kind. So I never started. I'm always I'm a good boy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not a shit stirrer. I mean, you're clearly stirring the shit. Maybe somebody else put it on the stove, but you're stirring.
Okay. So you said shit stir. I thought you said shit starter. Okay. Yes, I am the shit stirrer. I won't start it.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of starting, but I will absolutely stir.
Okay, so Jamari brought up the story. It's I'll try and tell it very, very quick. This was years back.
The year the Patriots
went undefeated. It was in the middle of the season. Jamari and I went to this restaurant in Atlanta, and it was like Patriots and Colts. It was like the big game. Like it was a huge deal. Like I don't know if you remember or if you're into football at all, but it was like the big game, and the restaurant was packed, like packed. There was celebrities in there. It was crazy, and we're in there, and we had like a crappy table too. Like it was really tiny.
No, we were kind of at the bar.
No, we weren't at the bar. I'm telling you, I
close.
remember we were at like a little crappy table in the back. But anyway, so the game is going on. The Patriots are losing. Was I wearing a jersey or
You were
somebody
wearing
else?
your
No,
jersey.
it wasn't my.
It was your jersey.
It wasn't my jersey. There's no way I would have let anybody do that to my jersey. It was another guy. It was another guy who had a jersey, and they made a bet. Remember, it was
you
the table
made a
next
bet.
to. No, it wasn't me. I promise you. No, I never owned a Patriots jersey until like a year later. It wasn't me. I promise, because I'm going to tell you why I know it wasn't me, because it wouldn't let this happen. But there was a guy who had a Patriots jersey. He made a bet that something would happen in the game, and he lost the bet, and the guy had to take off his jersey, and like people were like stomping on it. Jamari picked up the jersey and he like sneezed into it and threw it down on the ground and like stepped on it. That's why I know it's not my jersey, because there's no way in hell I'm letting that happen to my jersey. That's how I know. And so like all this happened and the Patriots are losing, and then the Patriots start winning. And all these same people who were like, cheering and blah, 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 they just get quieter and quieter. And I get louder and louder and louder the entire time. I'm in everybody's face. I don't know these people from Adam. Like, I don't know anybody here but Jamari. But they were all in my face before, and Jamari was in my face. And so I was like, as they got quieter, I get louder. Like, don't do it. Like, that's why I say I return in kind. Like,
yeah, they deserved it.
Me, there you go. If you trash talk me, I'm gonna trash talk you. But if I'm losing, I'm losing. I can't say anything. But if you start to lose, but anyway, so we jumped off this. This interview is so off the rails, but I love it. I'm going with it. Okay, so I'll jump to this one. Do you ladies have any like favorite creators that you will read their stuff no matter what else, no matter what they put out?
I used to with an author.
Okay,
That author.
that works.
Not a comic book creator, but an author. Like with comics now, I'm at this point where I'm just like, if it looks pretty, I'm gonna pick it up and read it, rather than care. Like, I mean, obviously, I care about my fellow indie creators. I try and support them, and I know a lot about their stories before I see the book, so I'm always excited about it anyway. So that's not a thing. But like, as far as like other stuff that I don't know the people who made it or whatever, I will, if it's pretty, I'll pick it up. And a lot of times I'll pick it up and I'll be very disappointed because it's pretty, but the story's garbage. So that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, I do for an author. I used to read everything that I could find from Mary Higgins Clark. And
wow, okay.
I do believe she's dead now. She wrote a gajillion books, and they were murder mysteries. And after a while, I got to this point where I was like, I can predict her stories before I get halfway through, even, because she had the same model.
So
and she's like, yeah, and like I'm not knocking her for it, because like she found a model that worked and she stuck with it, and that, you know, like that's what everybody wants to find, right? But after a while, I was reading them, and I was like, am I reading these because I like them, or am I reading them because I feel like I should, because it's my favorite author from 5 years ago or whatever? But I think I've read everything that she's written now, as far as her novels go, and they're murder mysteries, so they're kind of fun and scary, and
Okay.
If you have read
Laurie?
everything, that means you've read 51 books. That is, wow.
That's right.
My whole life, that's a wow.
Like of that one person.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
That's...
And their novels, I mean, 51 comic books, I suppose people go, but yeah, 51 novels, I guess, can sound more impressive.
Laurie, do you have anybody?
Oh, wow. Mainstream creators, like comics wise,
Whatever.
I would say like people that I would just buy by looking that it's their name, like, or they're working on it. Garth Ennis, I really like Ennis. His stuff is so weird.
Me too.
And crazy. Yeah. Joe Mad. I just love Joe Mad's art. So anything that he draws, I want to buy it.
Okay.
God, there's so many. I'm trying to think. McFarlane, a lot of the time I'll buy it just because I love his art.
Yep.
And then in indies wise, like there's a ton of indies that I will just consistently buy. Like Brian from Wingless Comics, I always buy his stuff. He's got great books. Oh my God, there's just so many indie creators right now. Felipe Cano is a great one. He does The Few and Cursed. I'll always get his books. Fair Square Comics, that's Fabrice Sapolsky. All of his books are consistently amazing. Oh my God, there's so many. Mike Watson, of course, Freestyle Comics. I always get my freestyle books. Oh my God, there's just so many.
That's okay. I'm gonna convert Laura and Sarah. Strong is gonna convert you. After you read Strong, you're gonna be like, I got to get everything that he wants now. Everything that he does.
I'm so excited.
Brian.
I was definitely waiting.
Brian, come on.
Entire evening, he wanted to rage.
Man, calm down, man. You're gonna be on the show next week. Calm down, man. Calm down. You'll be on the show next week.
I am the comic neophyte here, so Laurie, you have this. You clearly have this extensive knowledge, like Javon. Like, pitch me one comic like you got to go get right now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I neglected to mention Stefan Sajic. He
does.
Yeah. His run on Harley Quinn is the best Harley Quinn story I have ever read.
I'm so mad that they're not doing, like, because it kind of petered out because of DC, right? They kind of...
No, he has too much shit to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Maybe
He's always
pick him
putting
up
like
later
great
then.
stuff up on Twitter.
I hope he picks
because
it back up. This is
he
so
has
good.
3 of his own creator-owned series that
Oh,
he's
okay.
working on simultaneously. So, and I think he wants to do more DC. He just
Sounds
doesn't
like
have
me.
time. But if you have not read the Harleen
Yeah.
story, Jamari, I would. It's so good.
Oh my god, it's so
Arlene?
good. The art is amazing.
Yes.
The story is so yes.
I thought you were going to suggest Preacher.
Yes, that's the next one. Yeah, that's the next one I would recommend is Preacher.
I love Preacher. I read Preacher at least twice a year, start to
Yeah.
finish.
That's one of those now that I feel like I absolutely have to get because that's like the 3rd time someone has recommended Preacher to me. So
There's
I feel
nothing like Preacher.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, like it's hard to explain
It
what
is.
it is. Like I can tell you the premise of it, and
I'm just gonna read it. I think I'm just gonna buy.
You're like, what is
Yeah.
even the TV show? They tried, they tried really hard to adapt it, but I think it might just be one of those things that's just unadaptable. Like
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. There are some aspects of it that I really enjoyed. I thought the guy
I
who
didn't like
played
what do you call it part of it though? The relationship that they had with Cassidy and Tulip, like they were like in a relationship while Jesse was there. Like I was just like, I don't like
okay,
that.
I might have not have gotten that far then.
Yeah, they were like, like he was still alive, and they were just
that's weird.
Yeah,
I like the guy who plays Cassidy though. Like that man is
Oh yeah,
literally him. Like he
Yeah.
is.
I mean, the guy who played Jesse was pretty good.
He was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would.
Okay. That's fine.
She did okay. Yeah, I would definitely just it's just crazy. Like you'll never have read a comic like it. It's it's great. Garth Ennis also writes The Boys, so I don't know if you've watched any of The Boys or read any of The Boys. Yeah, so
I have
kind
read
of that.
parts
It's
of
just
it.
crazy.
Yeah, I really do enjoy this. I almost think I like the show more than the comic.
I was gonna say that
Yeah.
might be the one example, one of the few examples of where the adaptation is better than
It is better.
the book. I'm actually binge watching it from the beginning again while I'm watching the new episodes. It's just
Being able to put those little pieces together and see little things differently. Yeah, I really have enjoyed that show. And
I'll give you a book, Jamari.
give me a book.
Invincible.
I've been trying to track down
Yes.
that because I want to read that whole.
That's not hard to find, bro.
Okay.
Not now.
Right.
Not with the cartoon. Like
Yeah, that
Killing it.
cartoon made me really want to read that book. And I remember you telling me how much you liked it.
yeah, I came in relatively early on Invincible, like number 13, I think, like 13 or 14. Like I came in relatively pretty early. So it was good.
One of
But,
the
If you like fantasy, I would recommend Rat Queens.
I heard of
If you
that.
I've
not
heard of
read
that. I've heard of that.
No.
I haven't read it though.
Rat
That's
Queens.
really good.
Rat Queen?
The
Okay.
last thing someone just I had a friend who loved Saga so much she bought the first 2 volumes in the store and just shoved them in my hand and said read them, and I really did like that. So
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I read the
Yeah.
first trade for Saga. I just haven't got caught up.
I'm
I'll
behind,
tell
but-
you a great one. I don't know if you've read this, Laurie. You might have, or Sarah. Ex Machina.
No.
That sounds
I
familiar.
haven't yet.
Written by the guy who does Saga, Brian Kate Vaughn. It's about if a superhero retired and became mayor of New York. It's
I
really
have
good.
not read that. I was like thinking like maybe I have, and no, I
It's
have
like
not.
it's almost like the West Wing with a
superhero.
Yeah, it's really good. I would give it a chance. I would give it a
Definitely
shot.
sounds like an interesting concept.
Oh yeah, it's really good. I've got so many like I'm more of I'm in a completist mode. Like I'm collecting runs. Like I just finished Jason Aaron's run on Thor with Jane Foster Thor and all that. Um and I got a few other runs. That's where I am in my life. Like I'm like, all right, let me go get this run. I'm still doing Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Still got to get some more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got your loves, things you like about comics. How did you guys? Now I know Sarah, you kind of told you told your story about how you went from how you became a professional in the field. Sarah, Laurie's husband, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Which
was I was designing sports jerseys. Like I had a job as a designer for a company that makes jersey sports gear, and that was when she and so I liked the challenge of that, but after a while, because like there's like very stringent rules about where and what you can put
Yep,
on a jersey and
yep,
how tall the letters have to be. Like
yep.
that was fun because I had to figure out like what can I do that's really cool, but that I can only put on the shoulder of the basketball jersey. It could only be like 4 inches from the top of the shoulder and stuff. And so when she said something about can you help us with this thing, and I jumped at it because I was like, yeah, I can help you because that sounds like different than
And
what I've been
fun.
doing every day. So I was excited about that.
But so Laurie, though, how did you go from being a fan to a professional?
Um, it's kind of an interesting story. Basically, I was working just kind of freelance as an illustrator. I was getting jobs through DeviantArt, and I kind of just decided on my own that I wanted to start working on comic inking and figuring it out. And I started just getting pieces from artists and inking them for practice and putting them in my portfolio. And basically, Zach, who owned UHS at the time, came to me and was like, "Do you want to do a test page for Super?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And we did it. And they were like, "Well, you did better than like 15 other people that we tried, so you're hired." And it kind of went from there with other comic jobs, and of course I'm not just an inker, but that's inking wise how that kind of I just practiced for a long time until someone noticed me is basically.
I mean, inking is I know how hard inking is to get into the industry because it's like it's very like it's one of those things where like artists, like I can say, well, that artist is okay, but like when someone's a bad inker and someone's a good inker. Like it's very black and white.
Yeah, and there's
Literally.
a lot of kind of complications because every artist you work with is going to be completely different. They're going to need their work inked differently. They're going to pencil things differently so that they want, like, some pencilers, they want to do it rough and they want you to fill shapes in and they want you to add depth to it. They want you to add all kinds of stuff. Other pencilers don't really want you to mess with that. They just want you to ink it but add line width variation and hatching. And figuring that out with each individual artist is really, like, you have to be, I guess, humble. You have to not really care if someone is like, well, I don't really like what you're doing. Can you do it this way instead? And I found that has gotten me far, being flexible that way.
You answered some of my questions about because I'm not 100% familiar with what makes a good inker and what makes a bad one.
Yeah. So some of it is right. So some of it is the unwillingness to be flexible. If you just ink the same style over everyone, that's not going to work. Like if you ink Jim Lee the same way you ink Joe Mad, that's just not going to look good. Like that's just weird. One of them's not going to like it. Like, and there's also line width variation is a really big deal. Line weight variation. I have seen inkers who don't vary it, and for the most part, that's not it doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. You don't have depth in like a really busy scene. You don't have the stuff in the front popping out. You don't have action. You need to have that. And same thing with hatching. You can kind of, I don't know, it's hard. It's kind of hard to explain, but like looking at it, you can see if someone is right. Yeah. If someone, I've seen inkers who just hatch things randomly and it's not in the right way or place. Cause like there's a technique to it. I'm rambling now, but
I feel like you just have
I'm listening.
I'm listening because it sounds similar when talking to my brother about music. He hears things or in music, and when he I can see the frustration or I can see the joy, and I'm like, what is it you see? And this sounds exactly like my brain would probably be like, oh, that looks fine, and you'd be like, no, what is wrong with this? And
right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to.
When you get really into it, you just kind of organic. Well, that you just kind of what's the word? Osmosis. Like you just learn. You just kind of figure it out, and there's no real way to. Like you can teach somebody the basics of inking, but then you just got to do it and figure out what's good. It's the same way with all kinds of art, I guess. Really, like any kind of art, just got to figure out that what looks good after you've learned the basics of how to do it. And I mean. And Laurie's like excellent at figuring out what should look like what in which place. I did not appreciate the importance of varying the line width and the depth of the to create depth in the paint in the picture until she started teaching me how to do some inking stuff and sent me some of Zach's pages to ink and then I was like I get halfway through it and I was like I don't want to do this.
Like, no, this is it for me. I always laugh when people call inkers like tracers because it's like you have no idea, dude. It's so much. I ink my stuff, but I'm very like I'm all about time. Like I got to get stuff done quickly, so I don't do as much like in-depth inking with shadows. I let the coloring do a little bit of the work. But I'm really because I owe you a cover. I know.
Yes.
Well, so what we'll do is I've already done the cover to Heat number 2. It's already done and colored. So Heat number 3, I will just do the pencils and we will make it happen. We will make it happen. I'm terrible. Like I'm just being honest with you guys. Like there are so many things like I want to do with I'm like, yes, like in my mind, I'm like, as I'm inking something, I'm like, Laurie could do this.
Right.
And the thing that I've noticed about that stuff is like she's offered to help ink my stuff too. And it's like I'll be like, nah, it's okay. And then I'll be like, not only could she ink it better than I can, she can ink it 1,000 times faster. And that's I think I feel like that's probably true for most people.
Well, for me, I want to pay her. I want to pay you. So
yes.
I'd like to pay you. So until I can pay you, like that's why that's another reason. Like a cover is a cover. I can do a cover, but like to do 24 pages, like that's you got stuff to do.
That's what's so frustrating about it, though. Is like I know that I can do it. I can make my stuff look nice, but it's like I know Laurie would do a better job.
Well, you got to keep going. You got to keep doing it.
Well, that's another thing. It's easy for me to just shove it off onto somebody else, but like I'm never gonna learn if I don't do it myself either.
Yeah.
So. But
to add to what you were saying too, there's a lot of times because they call it tracing, but like there's times where I have had to redraw entire faces because facial symmetry is incorrect. I have to fix perspective. I have to fix anatomy. A lot of the time, because pencilers like to draw on paper and I'm inking digitally more often than not for books anyway, for sequentials, because it's faster and costs less anyway. But the penciler is penciling on paper. So when they get into the small panels, they can't put a lot of detail and the anatomy ends up kind of bad just because they're penciling it on something this big, but on digital, I can zoom in and I can tweak it. So I do a lot of anatomy fixing. I'm redrawing things. Absolutely. Like it's not just enhancing with all books,
Michael Watson, I did the chat and draw with him, and he's like trying to lure me to the dark side of digital
Do
drawing.
it.
He's like,
Do
come on,
it.
like, look at you can do this.
Do
And I'm sitting
it.
there like, wow, that looks so easy.
Yeah,
I really
you can hit
could.
undo.
I know. But you know what?
It's
I'm
so
just I like
volume is
paper.
real.
I like paper. Like I
I
like
have a
the
feeling
feel of paper. I like to be
I
like
get
I got to swip, using my hand. And eventually, I told him I took the challenge. I said I was going to do Heat number 3 wholly digital. And I probably shouldn't have done that, but
You
I'm going to
should.
try.
You should do it.
I'm going to try. I'm going to
Also,
try this.
Sarah, shout out to that wonderful mug you got right there.
Oh, thank you. It's bigger on the inside,
it.
like for real. How many times I ended up with like a massive hypoglycemic, just like the shakes because I drank a whole cup of this whole cup full of coffee, and I'm like, but it was just 1 cup of coffee. No, it was like 4 cups of coffee.
Now, what time is it there for you guys?
It's almost 8
10 to
o'clock.
7.
10 to
10 to
7.
8 for
Okay.
her.
10. Okay. All right. So you're an hour behind. You're 2 hours and you're an hour. Okay.
I'm an hour. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So you got like a whole day to go. Oh, must be nice. Okay. So I got a kind of a serious question. We're gonna get in there. We're gonna talk. We're gonna get in there. Bury your soul. No, seriously. So comics is generally has always been for the most part a male driven industry. Creators have been males, mostly white males. Characters have been mostly white males. But obviously there's a shift. There's a movement more significant now, I would say, than any time in the industry that I can think of. How do you ladies feel about it? Do you feel like the change has been significant enough, or do you think that there's more that could be done? Do you think it's disingenuous? Like, what do you like? How do you feel about that?
I like that it's shifting. I think that it's not that there's less white dudes drawing comics with white dudes in them, but there's more of everybody else, which I like that a lot. And I also, at the same time, I think that there's always room for change. So it should keep changing, and hopefully it keeps changing to in a positive way with like more diversity, because that's the best ideas come from having lots of people from lots of different backgrounds getting into the industry and sharing their thoughts with everyone else. So I hope that it keeps changing and keeps going in the same direction, but continues, but we're not losing any white creators or white male creators or white male centric stories. We're just adding all these other really cool stories, and it just makes everything prettier and better.
So, do you want it from a creator perspective or a fan perspective?
Both.
Yes.
Both.
All
Okay.
of the above.
You thought we were going to say one or the other? No, we don't want to hear about your fan perspective. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't want to ramble for too long either.
We're good. We're good.
So, from a creator perspective, I do. I think that indie comics is helping it along for sure, but there's still the assumption that white dudes can write any character, and some can, but they don't have. I'll give an example, and I don't know if you guys have seen the new Thor.
I was wondering when that was coming up.
But they did not have a black writer or a black sensitivity reader on the team. It's clear that they didn't, because come on.
So,
that. Oh my god! That when I first heard about that, and I talked about this on Top 5. When I first heard about that, I thought, I'm not going to blame the writer.
Okay, yeah, the editor.
I'm
can be-
going to
Quality
blame
control.
the editor. No, not quality
Yes.
control. This is the editor. The editor. It's the editor's job, in my opinion, to be like, nah, like this
Yes.
ain't it. And so the fact that the editor was like, hey man, this sounds great. By the fate of Odin. Yeah, okay.
Right. Like, right. They
Sure.
needed to
Like,
hire a sensitivity reader, even if, like, I don't care. Like, the editor must be white. There's no way they're not. They needed to hire a sensitivity reader. They needed to do that, and I feel like that applies to everyone. That applies to people writing female characters and people writing Black characters and characters of other cultures, and in indie comics as well. Exactly. Like, it just feels like a white person trying to they're like, well, I know a couple of things about Black people, so that's like that's what we're gonna write about,
Yeah.
right? That's what it feels like. It's
I
so
know some Black people.
disingenuous.
This is what the
Right,
Black.
I
This is
got
what
to- I
I
have
did
some
like.
Black
I
friends.
saw some in a TV show. once.
Yeah, I saw this TV show. Yeah,
I
yeah.
started seeing pictures and art, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of wondering where this is going to go. And then somebody posted some of the beginning, and I was like, oh my god! When I
I
started
thought it was a
reading
joke. I thought it was a
Me
joke.
too.
So that's why I
too.
laughed. Like when I read it, I was laughing. Like I thought it was a joke. I thought it was comedy. Like and then
Satire.
like everybody's like, no, this
Y'all
is
really
a
put
real
that out,
story.
huh?
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
all right.
So, but the writer did come out and apologize.
Mhm.
I give them credit. He did come out and say, I got this wrong because he could have dug in.
He also said that he donated the money that he got from it.
Yeah, I didn't honestly. That to me didn't matter. Like
No.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, because like I said, I don't blame him. I blame
Right.
the editor. Like it's your job to like you clearly read this and say, hey man, this sounds great. This is really authentic. Like
They
no.
Yeah.
they
I
need to
don't- yeah.
hire sensitivity readers. They need to, and like I said, this applies to indies too. I've seen so many oh goodness, like I've seen in Facebook groups, like people trying to hire Black writers or female writers or female artists. They're like, I actually really want just a Black female artist on this, and the white men in the comments are so mad, and it's like,
Oh,
but
yes.
like
You don't understand. You just
it's we want to have these people telling these stories, and if we can't, then we should have a sensitivity reader who reads it. And guys, like in indie comics, like you might say, well, I don't have the money. You have a friend somewhere of that culture or of that race who is willing to read it for you and tell you that it's shitty if it's shitty.
Yeah.
Me and Javon used to joke in the early days of like Marvel stuff, and when people still didn't quite know how to make a superhero movie, that there should be somebody in the writer's room or somebody on set, and the moment somebody comes up with a dumb idea, their job is to just smack them over the head with a
Just smack 'em,
newspaper
like, no.
instantly.
Yeah.
Soon as that stupid idea comes out their head, no.
But I mean, once again, I've always told people that I'm a comic book historian, so I vividly remember, Luke Cage screaming, "Sweet Christmas," and it's enduring now, but the way the Jive Turkey and all that writing, back when he first came out, and then even like the Shang-Chi stuff and Iron Fist, the origin is incredibly problematic, and when you think about it, like it's very problematic, but it is what it is at this point. I do think I agree with you. Like I was talking to my wife about this because I want to do Strong as a mini series, and what I want to do is I would love to have like a Black woman either writing it or drawing it, one or the other. But it's also really difficult to at least for me to find one
Yes.
that draws well enough to do it, because it's one thing. Like I've seen women, I've seen a lot of people who want to draw comics. A lot of people can't draw comics. Like it's a skill, It's different than doing pinups, and I think a
Mhm.
lot of people don't quite understand that. So like I do agree with you about the creator from a creative point of view. It there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Um, I agree about that. I just think it's comics.
It's better than it used to be, but it's still got a lot of got to go.
Yeah,
Right.
Always,
Right.
yeah, always can get better. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that it's ridiculous, not just for art at all, but like for everything, from our entire world, every aspect of everything in our whole world. The day that you stop trying to improve is the day that, like, that's the end. That's the beginning and the end. Like, we should always try to improve things.
I've always said I wanted to. So I'm always interested when I talk to women who read comics, like how they feel about certain female characters being written, like because most of the stuff is written by white men, and it's like okay, we have there are a lot of female characters, but not a lot of them are written by women. And I always wondered, like, when you read like Jean Grey, do you like roll your eyes, or do you go, that feels authentic? Like how do you
Right.
feel?
It's
Like,
kind of hit or miss. It's hit or
Mhm.
miss.
That's nice. of
because
you.
Yeah,
I've always said that
That's so
Jean Grey
nice of
doesn't
you.
have a personality. I've said this.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, I feel like there's too often that there's a female character that's just very generic female thing, and they don't really have a lot of impact, even though they might be a main character. Like Jean Grey is a pretty important character, but like, yeah, not a lot of impact, even though they're supposed to be, top billing. And obviously, there's a lot of times where they're in there specifically to be eye candy for men, and there's a lot of times that they're in there to specifically and only to forward the plot and forward the character development of the male character, which is where the whole thing about fridging came from, about fridging the women. So it's yeah, it's a
That's an
thing.
interesting discussion. I want to go into that because I know the term fridging. I know where it
Mhm.
came from and everything, and I know Gail Simone, kind of started it, going. But I've always wanted to go into it with her because I understand logically why the term comes about fridging, how basically this female character's your only job basically is to die to propel the male character forward. But like it's one of those things where like, but it's like there's always almost a character that has to die that's created just to die to propel
Mhm.
the main character forward. But I get it. I know a lot time more than not it is a woman.
It's always, it's not just that it's a
the
woman, it's
wife
always
or the
yeah, the
girlfriend.
girlfriend or the wife of the main character. And like, why does she have to be the one that dies in order to, because that I bet that male character has a dad that could die.
Just
Now,
sacrifice.
now
Dad's
look,
gotta die, man.
Western
Dad's gotta
civilization
die.
loves killing parents now.
I know. I was gonna say
We love our
they've been
orphans.
killing parents for
Our orphan
decades.
hero.
That's it's like, why does it have to be the significant other of the male lead that has to die every time? And if that's the case, like, if we had more gay stories out there, more diversity in the LGBTQ stuff, like if we had more of that, then we wouldn't even like, that would be less of a thing of like, why you always be killing the women in the comics. Like it would be less of a thing because there would be more diversity in the murdered people.
Well, I remember there's a movie.
That's a weird thing to talk about, but like,
But no, there's a movie. There's a
and then
movie
that
that
gets you
came
to
out a
kill your
long time
gays.
ago. There's a movie that came out not a long time ago, but it had Jodie Foster, and like she was like walking with her boyfriend or husband or whatever down in like, I think it was like Central Park or something, and the boyfriend was the one that died. Like he was the one that died. She went vengeance for
Like
the
one of the
boyfriend
last
died. I
things
was like,
remember
oh,
her
that's
being
interesting.
in. I don't
Yeah, I
know
was
the
like, that's
name
pretty
of
cool.
it.
It's like, all right, okay. What's her name has a movie like that too? Jennifer Garner. What is it?
Electra?
Butterscotch.
No.
What is it? It's like a candy.
I got superhero stuff on the brain.
something
So
candy. It's a candy that it was called.
I don't think
But
I've seen
yeah,
it.
I'm only remembering Deadpool because like the Deadpool was the last huge fridging discussion that I remember.
Yeah, the brave one. Thank you. Yes, the brave one.
Because and I thought that Deadpool, like as far as it's an entertaining movie to watch Deadpool 2, but also I was like the whole thing sucked because first they fridged Vanessa, right? They fridged his girlfriend, and then at the end they freaking time travel and bring her back, and it's like, dude, that was the entire plot. That was the pivot point for the whole movie. What are you doing? You can't do that. And that's
it's Deadpool.
Yeah, the actress that played Vanessa, Marina Baccarin.
I know who you're talking about. Though.
Yeah.
Monica, from Firefly.
And she said it's okay because she comes back at the end. I was like, no, it's not okay. That erases the whole movie. And then like Russell doesn't get his saving. He doesn't get saved, and Cable also, like, there's just lots of
Yeah, you got to turn your brain off with those movies. Go ahead, Laurie.
Yes, you very much do.
Another thing that I guess the way female characters are written that kind of gets to me after a while is storylines driven by rape and storylines driven by pregnancy or lack thereof.
Yes.
Like
Widow.
It's right, like Black Widow. That didn't even need to be a thing. I don't know why they like, but it's that focus on that just gets old.
Yeah.
Like some people don't want to have kids. Why do we have to? Like, why are women just kid machines? Why do we have to? Why is that?
I'm not laughing. I've just never heard it referred to like that.
You know what I mean?
Kid machine.
I always say baby factory.
25 cents.
Like where it's not every story, of course, but it is too often that women are just either eye candy for men or they're baby factories. Yeah. Like, or like that was
right.
Or the reason that they can or cannot have that, or it's
always funny because it's not funny, but it's not funny, haha.
Funny,
it's
haha,
funny,
funny,
interesting that a lot of
you're laughing through your tears, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the issues that women have and Black people and all the minorities have like the same problems, and like just male white characters. You don't have any of these problems, but the minute we say anything, it's like, well, you guys should be happy that you have Luke Cage or something like that. And I'm just like, guys, look, man, you need, like, they'll name like 4 Black characters and be like, yeah, see? And I'm like, guy, man, you name 4. I can name 40 off the top of my head.
Yeah, like in the same amount of time that it took them to come up with 4, you could have picked 100.
Yeah,
like, it's not the same. I'm sorry. Like, I get what you're upset about, but it's not the same, and you have to stop taking it so damn personally. That's my problem. It's like, stop taking it so personally. We're not attacking you. We're just saying it's not fair.
It's kind of akin to, if I may compare it to this, people will say, well, there's so many movies with like an all Black cast, but like 75% of them are about slavery.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
I just
like
watched,
I can't imagine that you guys are getting tired of that shit at a certain point.
I watched 12 Years a Slave for the first time like a week or 2 ago, and like I said it on Facebook. I was just like, yeah, I think I've reached my limit. Like, I've seen enough. Like, I don't need to watch another slave movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like anytime
there's a bajillion stories that they could tell about the lives and experiences, and like really cool, compelling, amazing stories that don't involve institutional slavery. Like, there's so many. What was that movie? Colors, something about colors. And it was on Hulu or something, and it's about a lineage of Black women that just are born with this strange power.
Fast something.
Yeah, and I watched it.
I haven't seen it, but it's on my list of things to watch.
I don't even know about the. Yeah, I don't know what this one is.
It's got
indie film, so it's very
yeah.
And I watched it and I thought it was great. Like, it needed some script doctoring, I think, because at the end it's like
Don't tell me. Hey.
Well, no, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just like,
doing?
yeah, I'm just like,
now.
I think that it could have used like the story itself could use a little work, but I thought first
Fast
of all,
colors, yeah.
how amazing to not only be a
Yeah.
story about a black family, but it's almost all about the women in the family. Like, so that's really cool. But also, and they have powers, and it's not centered on whether or not they're having babies, and it's not centered on whether or not they're getting married. You know, it's like it's about mastering this power, or you know, letting it control you. You know, it's a much better. It's really good. And then, like I said, I thought, why aren't more people watching that movie? Why don't you know about that movie? Like, people should know. It's a solid movie. It's not an amazing movie, but it's solid.
Those are the ones that are not going to get pushed because those are the ones that require a risk. And as we can see, it's like the more money that goes into these industries, the less that the people in charge of those purse strings are willing to take a chance on something new and original, which is why we're getting 19 million remakes lately of stuff, and why sometimes it's going to be harder for creators who don't fit the normal who don't fit normally in this sense. They don't get those same opportunities. They don't get that same chance. That's why I kind of get mad when I hear that there's certain, just personally, when I hear certain black creators who traditionally make a certain kind of media or material, that they won't take a chance on something different. And it's like, but you have the power to.
Well,
Like,
but you also have to realize, like, it's money though. Like,
I do get that.
If you know, when it's all said and done, when thinking about Hollywood, a lot of people in charge of the money and the distribution don't look like this. They don't. Like, they're not. And
they don't look like this either. They're all old white men. They're all.
That's across many industries. But
I thought, I was thinking about the risk that you're talking about would be so much lower if these people that are in charge of the making of the movies, the payment, you know, the financing of the movies, if they would just jump on Facebook, jump on Twitter, stop being so detached from reality, and then join some of these comic groups, these indie comic groups for fans and stuff, and like look at what like regular people like us love and what we are making and what we are buying. And then, you know, it's not such a big risk anymore, is it? Because look at how many people love it.
I think one of the things that has hurt when it comes to entertainment is that there's no room for middle ground material, things that they're not going to hit $1 billion with it, or they're not going to hit all 4 quadrants and make the most money. Everything is about making the most money possible. So instead of, you know, managing expectations and saying, okay, this is going to do well, and if we budget correctly, we're not going to make the most money, but we'll make money off of it. And no one's willing to do that because no one is just satisfied with, okay, we did well and we made a profit. It used to be you could put a decent movie out. We don't have those decent stories about families anymore. Everything's either got to be the big budget, particularly in the movie, but even in comics, you'll see that. It's like, well, what's gonna bring the most eyes?
Laurie has something to say, I can tell.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm holding it in and I'm trying to remember it. I'm like, I don't want to forget I have two things to say. So to address exactly what you're talking about, and I have like a real world example that we're trying to actually fix.
Please.
So I'm really excited about it. So Hannibal Taboo and Damien Poitier, Hannibal wrote basically an entire D&D universe. And they pitched it to Wizards, and Wizards said no. Okay, and I suspect, and I'm not saying anything, I'm not calling anybody out, but I suspect it's because the majority of his races and NPCs are people of color. So he came to us, and he came to me, and he said, "Yo, do you want to do a D&D campaign book with us?" And I said, "Fuck yes." So, like, not to self-promote, I'm just saying, but I'm really excited about it.
What's the name
we're
of
gonna
it?
be
I remember some of that conversation happened on the live stream, like either before, during, or after we were live, and
yes.
Yeah, we were always like, we were. I think we both said at multiple points, like, if you ever want to work with UHS, you know who to get in touch with, and.
But yeah, it's called The Sundering. I actually have a cover I can send you if you want to.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't really officially shown it, but
Okay.
like I figure we can show it. But it's coming. We're gonna be releasing it either late July or early August. And it's fucking nuts, and it's usable as a Pathfinder 5th edition D&D, all of that stuff. We're gonna have custom dice with it, and like fuck wizards, like this book deserves to be made. Like I'm so
Fuck wizards.
Okay.
Well,
you
Laurie,
know, I'm
Laurie, you
glad-
hit another quadrant.
I'm glad.
played
Hold
D&D.
on. I'm glad you guys are. I've listened to everything you guys are saying. Number one, it makes me feel. Once again, I'm telling you, when you read strong, there are nothing that you said that you dislike is in that book.
Yay!
I promise you. I promise you.
I hope I remembered to back that. I knew I didn't have. I was like,
I think you did.
I
think
don't remember.
somebody from you guys did the digital one. You can buy the book now. You can pre-order the book.
I'll just have to rob Laurie, I guess.
But but like now you can pre-order the book. Like we're past the Kickstarter, but you can go on the
I'll have
website.
to double check.
Yes, you can go on visuallystoked.com, but whatever. But I do think like I said, I like the progress that I'm seeing. What I would love it if, how do I put this? What I do like about the indie industry is that just even from me, it coming into it, I've met so many people and it's pretty much been pretty welcoming. And I love that it's really tight knit and everybody kind of supports each other. And I love that there's just so much different, there's so much different like stuff out there. From Unlikely Heroes alone, you got The Surgeon, your Elsewhere anthology, which I will do a short story for at some point.
Yes.
I just need I need like an extra I need another left hand.
Multiplicity thing happening.
I just need another left hand. Like one here I can draw, and then the other over here where I can draw, and then I can do it. You guys have Power Broker. I'm trying to get some of this stuff out here. Medusa. What is this? What is it called again? Miss Medusa's Monstrous
Menagerie.
Yes. Super as well. Let's see. Get some other stuff here. I love this. I love the banner. The banner's great.
That is awesome.
This is up from the skies. I thought this was a cool cover while I was doing my research for you guys. Some of this artwork is amazing. So if you guys are watching, this is great. The Unthinkables, I love this cover. This is a great cover. Very eye-catching.
Story is what Suicide Squad should have been. Like, we could have had an amazing story.
So I'm just giving people a taste of the type of things that they can get at UHL. Right there, guys. www.UHS Studios. We're gonna go out there.
Y'all about to disrespect my wallet. Okay.
We got to shut the website down. We gotta get that going.
Thank you.
But this is I'm once again when I'm motivated by you guys. I'm always motivated by everybody in the industry because every time you guys put out something new, I'm like, all right, I was gonna watch this. I was gonna watch The Boys today, but I guess I'll pick up this friggin' pen because I gotta get going because I gotta keep up. And your Kickstarters are always doing so friggin' well. Like it's just amazing. Like you guys have such an audience that just follows you from like project to project, and I admire that. And I'm always taking notes from the type of things that you guys are doing.
We have such great fans. None of us would be able to do these we have our studios without our fans, and we have amazing fans, and like indie fans in general, amazing fans.
Now, are you both doing this full time? UHS full time?
I'm yes. Like the short answer is yes. I mean, I'm inking, and that's not all for UHS. I'm inking for other companies as well.
Anybody
and then
you
we're
can
also,
talk about?
what am I inking right now? I'm inking a book for Freestyle Comics that hasn't been announced yet, that he's going to announce. And then
Okay.
the next issue of Hot Shot. I'm going to be inking that. There's some Transformers stuff that I inked that I can't really talk about what it is beyond
Okay.
that, but
Okay.
it involves Transformers, so that's cool.
That sounds cool.
I'm very excited about that. I'm like 4
Okay.
years old with that. I'm like,
All right.
Transformers.
Robots in disguise.
And then we also both like this last year we basically started fulfillment. So we fulfill other people's Kickstarters as well as ours, because we're already like, I was already set up for all this shit. And Comic Impressions, Rich, who owns Comic Impressions, approached me because they were doing fulfillment and their fulfillment just wasn't working out. It fell through. And he was like, well, I know like you guys fulfill your own Kickstarters and like nobody complained, like the shipping is flawless, there's no complaints. And he's like, do you want to just take over my fulfillment? And I was like, yeah, sure. So now we're fulfilling Kickstarters too.
Oh.
I'm like, man, I need help. No, I gotta do mine.
I know it's there's a lot of people that it's very helpful for space issues or time issues. Like that's why they reach out to us for that stuff, and we're happy to help.
Awesome. So I don't want to hold you ladies forever. And trust me, I would continue the conversation, but I do want to do our top 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each your own top 5. It has no particular order. All right. So no pressure. No
one
pressure.
Of us is going to get that couple of minutes, that moments to like think about it while the others.
Nope. Got to do it quick. Okay. So Laurie, for you, top 5 inkers, top 5 favorite inkers.
Oh my God.
And then Sarah,
Okay.
top 5 favorite comic book characters. Actually, no, scratch that. Top 5 favorite fictional female characters. All right, I'll give my top. While you guys are thinking, I'll give my top 5 female fictional characters. So I'm gonna go with Ripley from Aliens, Storm, I guess I would go with Khaleesi. Daenerys. This is a really obscure one, but I loved her character so much. I just can't remember her name. Nia Long's character in The Brothers. I loved her. I love Nia Long's character in The Brothers.
Okay.
Oh, and number 5. How can I forget? From How to Get Away with Murder. What's her name?
Name the actress.
The main character.
The main character. I can't remember her name.
Why can't I remember? Anna. Nah, I have to look it up.
Oh my God. The actress is the same one who plays. Oh my God. She's
Annalise Keating. Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Annalise Keating.
Viola Davis.
That's my 5. All right.
Oh, she's killer. I love her.
Yes, I love her character. All right. Who wants to go first?
So you want
I'm
inkers or
ready.
female characters from me?
You inkers,
Okay.
and then female characters. And when you finish, if you want to do famous female character favorite, you can do it. I don't know. And Sarah, if you want to do inkers, knock yourself out. But I figured. So who wants to go first?
I cannot remember the names of artists and inkers for my very favorite stuff. I'm horrible at remembering.
Okay, no worries. So go ahead. Oh, do you have your list? Who has their list? Who's ready?
I'm writing things down because I'm trying to remember,
I'm
and then
ready.
by the time I remember
right.
a second one, I'll forget the first, so I have to write it down.
All right, favorite. Inker.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be in an order, right? Because it's
No,
I don't know
order.
the order.
No order. No
Okay.
order. I told you it's laid back here. No stress.
Palmiotti, Sienkiewicz, Scott Williams. He's the guy who inks over Jim Lee. He's I can't even comprehend him. McFarlane, of course, and Sandra Hope. More people need to know about Sandra Hope because she is insane.
I saw videos of her inking, and I'm sitting there like, how in the hell are you able to have such a steady freaking hand?
With a brush.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
She uses a brush like it's a pen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
Oh, it's so wild.
Are you ready?
I have 4. I'm trying to think of a
Come
fifth.
on, you got to get to 5. Come on. You can get to
Well, I actually like the problem is like I thought of like 50 different female characters that I like, but I don't know who's my number.
Well, give me your 4, and then by the time you get to 4, you'll think of the 5th one.
I like Professor McGonagall from Harry Potter. She is like, she does not take anybody's shit. I love her. What We Do in the Shadows, Nadia. I fucking love her.
Yes.
You stupid bloody donkeys. I love her. Princess Leia. It's like she's the only Star Wars woman from the original stuff, that anybody can, like, a woman can look up to. Because, like, try and think of another female character that doesn't die or that is important in any way. Like,
Yep.
So she's a very important character, and okay, and Matilda from the movie Matilda, from the book Matilda, love her. she's adorable, right?
Number 5. Gotta give us a 5.
Number 5.
Off top of your head, go real quick.
Well, I keep thinking about Blitz from Super. Like, she's one of my favorite female characters.
Okay, that's fine.
The first time I started paying attention to female characters,
That's
I mean,
fine.
like I said, I came up like, well, you said Ripley, and she's of course like the first one that I thought of, and I also thought of Samus.
Metroid.
Yeah.
I always forget. Listen, I'm terrible. I keep forgetting that Samus is a woman. Like, I promise you, I always forget.
Like, the whole point was for us to be shocked as shit when we found that out, right?
I know, but I always forget. Like, I know, like, I logically know this character is a woman, but I always forget. Even when I was playing Smash Brothers, it was new. I was like,
yeah.
And I get Zero Suit Samus. Yep.
A ton of great female characters. I mean, like, they all have their own sets of problems, but, like, there's several in the Harry Potter universe, and then, like, there's Katniss. Katniss was a strong young woman. We got to watch her development.
You're gonna name them all, aren't you?
Like Lucy, like Lucy from I Love Lucy. I can't remember her last name. One of the very yeah. Well, I don't remember what her character's name was, but yeah, like, she was like the first female comedian that really got to be big, right? Who was before her? Like, there's just a ton of them.
Laurie, do you have a list?
That popped in my head.
It's really hard to narrow it down to 5 really quickly, but I'm trying to think of, like, in terms of, like, the impression they made on me the first time I saw them too, and I'm trying to kind of Buffy.
Oh my gosh, how did I forget Buffy? But I still go ahead. I forgot about Buffy.
Ripley. I have to definitely give her Michonne for me was actually a huge one, because I'll be honest with you, like, I was watching The Walking Dead. The first 2 seasons are like garbage, and I was ready to stop watching it, and I only watched it because of Michonne. So in my opinion, that's Like
Okay.
I would love to just throw out the rest of The Walking Dead. I don't care. I want a series about her.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, she's a great character.
Mhm.
Arya
Ooh.
Stark.
Arya is amazing.
How did I forget Arya Stark? Oh my gosh, I feel terrible now. I got to redo my list. Dang.
I have
That's a
somebody.
good one,
I have
right?
someone
Like, she's-
from.
Oh my gosh. You know what? We're gonna have to do this on top 5.
I got one on. I
We're
got
gonna
one
do
on
this
my
on
list
top
that's
5
from
live.
Game of Thrones. But
Wait, hold on. You got 5. You got one more.
I put Scully, and that's because for me, she was like during my childhood, like she was just a favorite character for me. She's
Right.
such a badass. The woman who plays her is a badass. Everything about her is badass. Like she's just
Scully's on my list too. Like, oh man, I seriously thought of like just like 50 of them popped into my head. And I was like, I don't know which ones.
I know. I forgot about
yeah,
Sarah
like-
Connor.
Leslie Knope,
yes.
great.
Leslie Knope is
Yes.
fun.
Sarah Connor, yes, Sarah Connor.
Jamari, you got a list? I feel
Clarice.
like you're itching to
Clarice
say
from
your
Silence
list.
of the Lambs. I love her
Ah.
character. Flawed. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to take any of yours
Jamari,
anymore.
go ahead.
No.
Essentially.
See, I've always loved Storm because
Yes.
Yes.
why not? Come on now.
Yes.
But I'm my list. Admittedly, I just went for things that just characters that just always are fun. They're not like my all time. Melinda May from Agents of Shield. I freaking love her because she sometimes carried the whole show. Cersei Lannister, my favorite to hate because
Yes.
she was so good at playing a villain, and she's one of my favorite villains of all time. Hermione Granger, because it really should be called Hermione Granger Saves the Day.
Who's that?
True.
Is that
Hermione
Potter?
Granger from Harry Potter.
I don't watch Harry Potter, guys.
I know you don't know Harry Potter, but it's cool.
You don't understand how amazing
It's
McGonagall
so.
is
I'm
either.
sorry, Harry Potter. I fell asleep during the first one.
It was the books for me. That's why it was the books for me.
Maybe I would have felt different. Like,
and honestly, I really should put
well, that's 4. You gotta get one more, right?
No, that's Storm, Melinda May, Cersei Lannister, Hermione. I'm gonna put a weird one out. Ko Moon Young, a character from a Korean drama, because it was the complete inverse of everything I've ever seen from a Korean drama. Usually it's the guys objectifying the girls.
What's the name of the drama?
It's Okay to Not Be Okay.
Oh,
It's so she's the one going after the dude. She's practically she's going in hard instead of usually it's the guy like massively chasing the girl around and talking about how attractive they are. And she's like, "No, I'm rich. I want this guy. I'm gonna have him." And she's so funny through the whole series, being like this haughty woman who's like determined. Yeah, I'm gonna get what I want. And that stuck out to me.
we're definitely. I'm gonna have to suggest this one to the guys. That was because once I started going,
There's too many.
Stark, like
Yes,
it's
there's
just so many.
You'll make 5 different lists in an hour.
You brought up made a female villains, like how you need to do a top 5 female villains because there's badass female villains out there. I just was introduced to a great one last week when we watched Dread. We watched we were telling you.
Yeah, that's Cersei, same woman,
Mama,
right?
Yeah, Mama.
Lena Headley.
She's really good at what she does.
Lena Headley. Yeah,
Lena Headley.
Yeah, she's a freaking amazing actress, and she is like as Mama. She is scary. Like she is made me like that would make me uncomfortable, and I'm sitting here on my own couch being uncomfortable from a movie.
You got one?
Yeah. And I feel bad I didn't think of her earlier, but Georgiou from Discovery. She's played by Michelle Yeoh, Philippa Georgiou.
Oh,
I'm sure we're gonna be like for the next 3 hours going. Why did I remember her?
If you haven't watched Discovery yet, it's worth it to watch just for her.
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek
he is
Discovery.
in that.
That's one like Paramount, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Oh no, is it Paramount or CBS? Or is it the same thing?
That's the same thing now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so hard for me to like watch new stuff, like to get into something new.
Oh, it's so good.
Because like when I'm drawing, like most of the time when I watch stuff, I'm drawing. So I'm listening.
Same. Yeah.
So like if I like that's why I'll binge watch The Boys now because I know what's happening, so my brain knows, and I'm just listening. But
I do the same thing, and you can't watch something new. You just
Right.
you stop focusing on your drawing, or you stop focusing on the you
right.
can't do it.
So like when I
Sarah?
watch like Miss Marvel, I'm not drawing. Like, all right, I'm watching Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's a good
Yes.
one, by the way. That's another good one.
Yes.
I love that show. That show.
I got to give that all my attention when that comes on.
That show is amazing, dude. That to me, somebody said it on Facebook. I can't remember who said it, but they made she might be the most
Mike
authentic teenager.
Yeah.
Was it Mike who said it?
Mike's the one who posted it. I saw it after we talked about it yesterday. I saw
Yeah,
it.
she might be the most
She's
authentic.
the most teenager.
Yes. Yeah, she like. I'm sitting looking at like listening to her talk, and I'm like, yeah, that's my daughters. That's
Yeah.
the way they talk.
Yeah. It doesn't feel contrived. It doesn't feel
because it's her
like,
first job, if I'm correct.
Is it?
I think it's her first job. She got
she-
her parents sent her the cast. No, a family member sent her the casting call because she was such a big fan.
Well, she nailed it.
wow.
She's more teenagery than Tom Holland was as Spider-Man. Like,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
Even that, like, honestly, like, I would love to see them interact. Like, I don't know if Marvel's gonna do it, but they need to get on it. That's a need to. But like that, I will like, all right, I'm watching this, I'm focused, I can't do anything else. Like I usually watch it in the morning before I get started working. Like, all right, like when tomorrow, the boys will be out, you know, I'll after I go to the gym, I'll come home, I'm watching it. Okay, I'm done watching it now. I'll, you know, put something else on. You know, I've binge watched, I've re-binge watched Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah.
Game of Thrones. It's funny. Like
you
like Grey's Anatomy?
I only remember, I haven't watched it in forever, and the only one I remember is the one where the guy they were playing with artillery stuff and they shot the bomb.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was played after I watched it. I remember watching it the first time I was at my sister's house when we watched the Super Bowl, and it was on after the Super Bowl, and then I was like, shit. Will you tape this for me for next week because I need to know what happens? They had to make that a two-parter.
I have a very interesting story on how I got into Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if I've told this story on this show. I might have told it on this show or Top 5. But I did not watch Grey's Anatomy when it first came out. Like I was like, this is not for me, whatever. And so a friend of mine took me to a birthday party for a friend of his. And so we went to the party, and his friend was talking, you know, my friend and his friend were talking, and they're like, you know, she says to him, hey, do you watch Grey's Anatomy? He's like, yeah, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. I don't do that. And she goes, you're watching it right now. And so they were like, there was only like 9 episodes of the first season, I believe. We watched 9 straight episodes that night. And so, like, the whole time I'm sitting there going, can't believe I'm watching this. Can't believe I'm watching this. At the end of it, and so we get in the, like, we finish watching it, and we get in the car, and we both looked at each other and said, you liked that, didn't you? And he's like, yeah. So we were in.
That is an interesting little bit.
We were in, like, and I've been in it. Honestly, I don't think I like it as much as I used to, but I'm at this point
habit now.
Trying to, it's like, I don't know. You guys watch The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the episode where he had the long foot-long or 100-foot-long sandwich, and he just kept eating it, and he's just like, he just has to get to, and even though he's getting sick and everything, that's how I am with Grey's Anatomy. I'm like, I just need to make it through to the end.
Sarah,
that's how I was with Supernatural.
Hey! Now, Supernatural never fell off.
I got there were a few points. There was I got back on in season 14, and I was like, okay, this is getting fun again. And then and I still haven't had a chance to go to 15 yet, but there was a few points at which I was like, are you guys running out of material?
I've always liked Supernatural.
I like Supernatural, and I like looking at Jared Padalecki, so like I don't even care if it's garbage, I'll just still watch it.
I remember I literally was there on the first episode of Supernatural. Like I watched it from the first
freaking amazing. The first season was the best. I wish that I know that could not have sustained the show if they just had done that model for the entire run. It would not have worked. It would have got boring. But like, it was so good. It's so good.
It's funny is I didn't even want to watch that show. The girl I was dating with at the time was like, "Oh, I want to watch this," and I was like, "All right, sure." And I watched it, and I was like, "Man, that was really good." So she never watched it again, but I kept watching it from that point on. So, yeah. But just funny you said Buffy. Buffy was similar to that. Like I liked Buffy up until a certain point, and then I was like, and then I was just like,
I got into that show late.
I was just like, all right, I got to finish this. I had actually started liking Angel more than Buffy.
Yeah.
Angel
I
was
felt
amazing.
now that we rewatched Buffy recently.
I tried. I couldn't do it.
And the first couple of seasons are quite rough, and I think it's because Joss Whedon had too much say. So like you kind of get like this kind of scuzzy, sexist kind of vibe, and like everyone's wearing mini skirts all the time in high school, and you're like,
literally,
and some of the dialogue is weird, and Xander feels like just this embodiment of Joss Whedon, where like he just wants to bang all these women and they don't want to, so he's miserable all the time. Like it's just, but then you hit like season 4,
so, yeah.
Right? Exactly, yeah. And but at season 4, I found it picked up and like it gets more interesting, and like Willow gets more interesting, and the characters get more growth. And then when they branch off into Angel, they do all kinds of cool shit. Like
Angel was amazing. Angel was amazing from like episode 1 to the that's still one of the best series finales I've ever seen in my life.
It's nuts.
It is so good, and I will put it up against any series finale, because a lot of series finales they don't land.
They don't hit it. Yeah.
Like I like the series finale for Lost, but I know I'm in the minority.
Yes,
but I'm okay with that. I liked it. I
love Lost.
I do.
That is a crime. Lost. That series finale is a crime.
How? How was it? You know what it is? I think people were upset that they didn't spell out every single mystery. Like,
I guess for me, it was. While I was watching it, I was expecting it to be a science fiction series. I was like, this is going to be sci-fi. And then the series finale is like, no, it's not.
Very metaphysical. Yeah, it's very like.
So I was kind of like.
really religious.
Right. So it was just like not what I wanted. But, I mean, it's not bad. It's shocking. They went way out. Like, they surprised everybody, I'm pretty sure. So.
It was one of those things where like I had been in the journey for so long, like I got sentimental with it. So like I probably was in a different headspace than a lot of people were. Like I know a lot of people are hardcore like into the mysteries, where I was really like I cared more about the characters than the mysteries by the time. You know what I mean? So like that's why I think that's why I enjoyed it, because once again, like who cares about the 4-toed foot? Like whatever. Like I don't like. All right, I don't care. But I get it. A lot of people were really invested in it, and they felt like, well, you got to tell us something.
Yeah, right. I was invested in like, okay, when are the alien? When is there going to be aliens? When's there going to be like some crazy scientist like doing shit? Like when is the? And then
it went far. Like you're right. It was very sci-fi, and then it just took a hard right. Like, what season was it? Was it 4 or 5? I think it was 5.
Which was the season everybody hated of that show?
It was the 3rd season. That was
I thought it was late.
No, I think remember because I know a lot of people had a problem with the beginning of the 3rd season after they had been captured by the others. And then they were like in the cages for a while, and I just remember a lot of people haven't taken issue with it then, and then it kind of got back. I think once they introduced the smoke monster as like a human, I think that when it took a hard right and it went away from science fiction into supernatural, metaphysical like ness, and it just
Right.
left sci-fi almost totally left sci-fi. So I get it. I understand, but like I said, I still love it. Though that Lost, Supernatural, and those are like two of my favorite shows. Angel, like those are Angel to me. The only thing about Angel I didn't like was the son. After a while,
Mhm.
Connor, like I just wanted to smack the mess out of him. Like I was just like,
I
oh,
I
God.
like that they brought Spike back because
Yeah,
I think everybody knew that everybody liked Spike.
yeah.
Like I
Yes.
think the initial plan was to kill Spike off, but everybody liked the actor so damn much that they were
Yeah.
like, nah,
As
we
they
gotta.
should.
Yes.
I saw
And,
him.
and
I
he
saw
had
the
some
actor,
problematic storylines on Buffy.
Oh God,
Yes. Yeah.
that was the worst season for me. That was the absolute worst season of Buffy.
Buffy Bot?
Was it Buffy Bot? Yeah, it was the whole season, but I understood what they were trying to do. But like the
Yeah.
season after, when she came back from dead, like this.
Oh, that's a
serious shit-
super depressing season. Yeah, you just skip that season.
I couldn't.
Next
It was
season.
so hard to make it through.
Yeah.
Because I remember exactly. I was in college when that happened. When that season came on, and I remember I was going through a depressing time, and it was
Oh.
already depressing.
Oh wow.
I didn't even want to
Yeah.
watch it. I was like, you know what?
No.
I'll tap out. I'll see it next season.
The episode that they did where Buffy's mom dies is like I'll hold to that being one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. Like it's like I've never it's nothing's ever encompassed death like someone dying like that episode has for me. Like it just scared the shit out of me.
I thought about that episode when my mom died. Like
Yes. Yeah.
literally, I was like, yeah, okay, I get it now. Like I get that numbness, that everything is just weird. Like that was a great episode. That one, the one when they couldn't talk, that was
Yes.
a great one.
They don't speak for the entire episode almost. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then I've always anytime Angel was in Angelus was
Oh yeah.
that yeah, he was really good as Angel.
I have a question for Sarah.
Go ahead.
So
I'm going over with you guys, but it's only because I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm
this
okay.
is a fun one. You mentioned that you work and you have things in the background like Javon does. So my question is, how many times have you watched Parks and Recreation?
Ooh.
You want to know something funny? I've never watched it the whole way through. I always get like through almost everything, and then for some reason, yeah, I don't even know how far I've gotten, but like yeah.
You got to get all the way through.
I know it's stupid. It's ridiculous that I haven't done it yet.
I've not watched one episode.
I've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine probably 5 different times, the whole thing.
Yes.
I've watched Laurie, I have been having a stressful week with pet health stuff, and I watched on Tuesday or Wednesday, I watched the whole What We Do in the Shadows, everything that they have.
Yes.
And then we subsequently, Laurie and I were talking after that, and we were like, and we need to have a watch party when the new season it drops. Would they say July 16th? I looked it up. It's July. It's next month. I was like, we need to have a watch party because we both love it.
It's an awesome show.
Well,
Do
you guys watch New Girl? Did you guys watch?
I have
New
watched
Girl?
New Girl. Yes.
I should watch New Girl. I have not.
New Girl is hilarious.
I should.
I love
don't
it.
know why. Some of these shows, like people mention them, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't watch it. There's no reason. There's literally zero reason for me to not have seen these things yet.
There wasn't
New
great
Girl's a good
marketing
one to
for New
watch
Girl, though.
while you're working too, because it's
Yeah.
it's
It was
mostly
an
snappy
easy
dialogue
thing to
and stuff.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an easy
That's why
show.
things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and What We Do in the Shadows, like they're fun and they're engaging, but they're also like it's also very I don't want to say shallow storylines and stuff because it's not. They have some really serious good stuff in there, but also they manage to keep it light enough that it's you don't have to focus on it to enjoy it. From the way that they do.
I love the Thanksgiving episode for New Girl.
That's what made that show
Yeah.
That made it appointment television. That episode alone was.
I feel like that episode was the moment where the writer said, we don't have to focus on
Jess.
Jess,
Yes.
because everybody else is funny. And
Yes.
then they just like literally like it's almost like you could see the little light go over the writers' heads and like, you know what? Everybody else is funny, especially Schmidt. So
Well,
we're
they
just gonna
leaned on
ride
him
that.
real early on.
Oh,
in
he's
that
the
show,
MVP.
and then he kind of saved the show. And that episode
Mhm.
is where, like you said, everything locked together, and that was the basis of everything else after that.
But you know what though? You can see it's so the show is so it's so funny and interesting to me, especially because I've binge watched it like at least 3 or 4 times. And you can see where each writer figured out the character.
Right.
Like Sarah, if you ever watch it, you can see it. Like I said, that Thanksgiving Day episode, that's when they figured out Schmidt. I think the last episode of the series, the last episode of the first season, I think that's when they figured out Nick.
Yeah.
When they did the whole when they had him watch the video of himself telling him not to date I think they figured out Nick there. And then it wasn't until the second season where I think they figured out Winston.
Yes.
Lean into the weird.
Yeah, when they did the episode where I think Nick was like dating a bunch of different women, and like he couldn't get him out he couldn't get him out the house, and he did that whole I'm Theodore, he started talking like that. I think that's when they were like, okay, we get Winston now. Even Cece took some time.
Javon, please tell me you've listened to the podcast where they're rewatching the show. Because I would suggest you go watch the show again.
You apparently missed the point where Laurie and Sarah and I were talking about how there's so many
you don't have that whole thing
that we don't really have time to listen to every podcast while we're doing our podcast and working on our book.
But you can listen to the podcast while you're working because it's the type of thing.
Yeah, but then I want to pay attention though. I can't that's why I listen to, once again, that's why I binge watch stuff I've already watched. Because I can phase out, you know what I mean? Like I can stop paying attention to it, but when my brain picks it back up, I know what happened. Or like listening to music, like I can listen to music and just zone out and then just get into it. But if I'm listening to something that I don't know, then I want to pay attention to it, so I can't do it. And I know my wife talks about. She's like, I don't know how you can like watch TV while you're working, and I'm like, because I'm not watching it, I'm listening to it. So like I can't pay attention to something, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why
work. Is that a thing for you too? Like I've tried just listening to the radio when I'm working. It's not the same. It doesn't
Music works for me.
Music is fine.
I wish I could.
Music works for me. I can throw an album on or I can put a playlist on and I can go but I will admit if I'm doing something like brain heavy cerebral type stuff, it has to be instrumental music.
No, I can't do that. That would put me to sleep. I would,
but I don't listen. But when I say instrumental, I'm not listening. Like, yeah, it could be smooth jazz, but more than likely, it's going to be something a little more upbeat. So it works. It works for me.
I can do music because I'll get into it, especially drawing. Like drawing, I sometimes I won't watch, I won't have the TV on. I'll have music on because I can get into a rhythm and I'm just going. But if I'm like when I'm coloring, because when I'm coloring, I'm not sitting at a drawing table. I'm sitting in my recliner with my tablet on my lap and I'm just, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't take, it's going to sound terrible, but it doesn't take as much creative energy for me to color as it does for me to draw. Because drawing, I have to focus on perspective and anatomy and everything like that. When I'm coloring, I'm like, where's the light source? Okay, here's the light source. All right, boom. I have everything I need to go. And I don't really have to think much. The most I'm doing is I'm choosing the color. And even then, I'm just like, when I'm coloring, I have the flats. And I know I'm really technical right now. I'm sorry. I have the flats. And then I'm just literally using white and black for my lights and
Right.
darks. And then like I'm not even choosing, because I used to do it. Like if you read my first Heat book, I'm layering a different shade of the color on top of the color, which muddied the color, which I don't like. I'm gonna recolor it. But now I just take black and I take white and I just do different levels of it. So I'm not thinking like it. I've done it so much that I'm just like boom, boom, boom. But when I have like drawing, like when I have to draw a page, I have to pull up references. Like it's like a lot more work, which is why like, okay, I'll just turn on a playlist and then just let it ride. Like I won't watch The Boys because then I'll be looking up every now and again, you know, whereas like I can't do it when I'm drawing, which is a lot to say. Yeah. So you guys just saw a peek into my creative process. Like, yeah, so it's a lot. But it's 9:55 over here, and you ladies still have like the night. So I'm gonna let you guys go. We appreciated you coming on the show. You are always welcome. Whenever you have a new project, just reach out to me. We can make it work. As always, people, right there, UHS Studios. Come get some of this great stuff. Let's show some of the people. We got Power Broker. We got the Surgeon. Surgeon looks great. The Unthinkables. The Elsewhere. I promise you, I'm going to do something on this. I might need help. That's my thing. I might need help, so I might have to.
Volume 3 is my baby, because I have a story I did in there like 100% by myself. It's only a couple pages, but it's all me. Okay. I did everything. Pretty excited.
Yeah,
I was pretty happy with that.
If you need any help, Javon, that's absolutely.
I'm probably gonna need some help. If nothing else, I might actually need an inker and a flatter. I know I'm gonna. When is volume 3 coming out? Or you guys have already started on 3 or 4?
3 is already out.
Okay, 3 is out, but you're doing
submissions for 4 go until November 2022.
Okay, just hold the slot for me. I will do it. I promise
you have until November? Wait, yeah, absolutely, man.
I know. I'm probably gonna have to do is take a break between Heat number 2 and Heat number 3, and just maybe do like a 5-pager, and then just knock it out. Once I get the idea and I get the script, then everything's gonna go. But from like I have to shift my mindset from Heat to doing something else. But I'm gonna do it. But for everybody else, you can get Elsewhere volumes 1, 2, and 3. Got to get the Surgeon, Power Broker, Super, all this great stuff. Look at this amazing artwork. Inked by Laurie, I believe, right?
Yes.
All right. And we appreciate you coming on the show.
Very much so.
This is I'm okay with an extra long version today because today was hilarious.
It was this was a very fun conversation.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you guys on again, and you guys got to come on Top 5 again. Don't be scared. We won't, we treat you guys a lot nicer than we treat each other.
Well,
I'm ready.
Since we're when's our next Kickstarter? We should all have to poke Morgan to get
poke Morgan,
and then try because I know he asked us last time to try and do try and pick a top 5 list that would be similar to the thing that we did. That we're doing. So
when we do top 5 female characters or something like that, we'll have you guys on, which will give you time to come up with a proper list. We'll definitely do that. I'll bring it up to the guys.
Every time we've come on top 5,
villains may be too hard to come up with. So female characters, yeah. Oh,
yeah. So every time we've come on top 5, I have spent like 48 hours with my husband, like shooting ideas back and forth and like trying to narrow them down. Like we're insane about it. Like I get obsessed with it. I'm like, it needs to be the perfect 5 like that.
I like that process.
I don't even do that. But this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you guys go. I'm going to tell my top 5 process is very simple. I just start naming stuff. I just make a list, make the longest list I can find, and then I just start. Nope.
Yes.
Nope,
crossing them out.
Nope.
Mhm.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Mhm.
Nope. 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 And I usually make it to about 10. And
Yes.
then the 10, I'll kind of just sit on it for like a little bit. And then even then I'll start, nope, 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 nope. And then 9 times out of 10, I'll have 6. And I'll have the first 4 will be solid, but the last
Right.
5, I'll be like, I'll figure it out when the show starts. And then, so when you see me giving my list, 9 times out of 10, I'm figuring out number 5 right before I say it.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you have to have a slightly more streamlined process than we do, since you do this every week for that.
Yeah, I got to. Otherwise, it would take forever. But thank you all. And thank you, everyone, for stopping by. We appreciate you spending time. And I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Next week, I don't have the graphic. I'm sorry. But we got Brian Lambert. He's going to come on. And I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? I'll tell for the next couple of weeks, we have Brian Lambert. And the week after that, where am I? We have Chef CT Smith. So we got a little different. We gonna jump around here. But thank you all, and we'll see you next week for more creative talk with creative people. Thank you, and have a great night.